And this was a David Pearson car, but it wasn't for a NASCAR race. It was for the 24-hour Daytona and the 24-hour Le Mans.
That's cool. The condition it's in is just fantastic.
Just as it raced, yeah. Most of the time, you don't get to do that with a race car because they go through so many transformations, you know. And
this is a Wood Brothers car, then, right? Is that
this Holman Moody.
Holman Moody.
Yeah,
okay.
Holman Moody. Wood Brothers was the team, but it was a Holman Moody built car.
Okay.
Yeah. And it was funny because Bill France had worked like hell to get ACO, and IMSA to allow NASCAR cars to race at Daytona in the 24-hour stuff. And he finally convinced him to do it. And then he went to Holman Moody, and of course David Pearson was driving for them, you know, at the time, for those guys, for Wood Brothers and Holman Moody. So he said, and he told me he's passed away now, and I got this car because he told me where it was at and helped me make the deal to get it. But anyway, he said, Bill France shows up and he says, look, he said, we get to race with those sports cars. He says, I want us to win. He said, I told him the cars are going to be completely like they are for our NASCAR races, other than lights and stuff. He says, look, he says, you can cheat like hell. We're doing our own tech. He said, just don't make it obvious. That car's got a wider track. It's sectioned in the middle. It's got a flat floor. The engine's back. The front of the engine's at the kingpin, right?
Coming from the guy that gets them on Sundays when they're cheating.
And David Pearson told me, he said, Bruce, it's the best Winston Cup Grand National car I ever drove in my life.
Wow.
And it was a Camry. It was, a Hemi, 429 Hemi, that was making almost 700 horsepower in 75. And they were clocked going through the banking at 207 in 75 in that car in the 24-hour race.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man.
We were in that March. Caused the change at Daytona where they put the bus stop for the 24-hour race. We used to go back down the back straightaway all the way into 3 flat. And then that car's the reason they put the bus stop in. The year that March showed up, and it had, I think, 4,000 pounds of downforce, we were going like 230 through the banking.
Whoa.
Yeah. And then they decided we got to slow that down.
You imagine what that sounded like at 217?
Yeah, out of a 429.
Screaming.
Yeah, that's crazy. So this side of the shop is basically the mechanical side of the shop. So, you know, we do all our own tires and wheels and alignment, but everything else, we try to do as much as possible in-house. We send production type machining goes out, one-off stuff we do here. We have a composite guy in a separate building, and we do everything from polyesters to Kevlars to carbon. We do all our Porsche engines in-house. And some other engines. We did the Countach engine, and we've got a 250 short wheelbase Ferrari engine over there. We finished in a F50 engine we're doing, but I don't do a ton of Italian cars, but we do them, you know. And but I'm mainly, if I have a Ford engine, it goes to Roush. If I have a Chevy engine, it goes to a couple different guys. But whatever, we try to stay with what we know best. We do all our own body work. We do all our own metal work. Machining, fabrication, metal forming, aluminum, steel, whatever. All our paint works in-house. All our upholstery is in-house. Really, most of our engineering to figure things out, 99% of that's in-house. And you know, that's kind of what we do. So yeah, this side's, and you know, here's a whole mix, right? Porsches, Ferrari short wheelbase, a Lancia, and that's a hot rodded car that guy in England made those. That the top's chopped and the motor's done. That was Danny Sullivan's car, and we just sold it. But that guy builds Lancia Outlaws is what he builds. They're pretty cool looking. XJ220 Jaguar.
Wow.
Which
yeah, that's a rare one.
Yeah, turbocharged BMW and da. So you know, body shop area. Here's a couple things. Here's a 959 tub in the first stages. So 959 we take down to a bare tub. And we not only take it down to a bare tub, but we take all the paint off the car. Because when these cars were new, so they were a steel tub, okay? And not a 911 tub. It's got way more shear in it, and it was built to be a Group B rally car. So, and then they bonded on a Kevlar shell, see? This is Kevlar bonded to the steel tub. That's where they got this shape. And the front fenders are Kevlar, the doors are aluminum, the hood's aluminum, front bumper's polyurethane, the rear wing and bumpers also Kevlar. Here's a wing. So these things, when they were new, you know, back then they didn't have epoxy primers, right?
Right.
So when they tried to put paint and stuff on this Kevlar, it just kept soaking in and seeing the weave. Every one of these cars ends up with a huge amount of paint on it. So we mechanically strip them. You can't blast it, can't chemical. We mechanically strip every square inch
It's
of
like
this car.
razor blade stripping.
Yeah, it's the only way to do it.
Who grabbed the short straw?
Yeah,
Well,
well,
that's it.
The new guy.
You got to start somewhere. You got to sweep, right?
But you can't let a rookie do that because he can mess up the Kevlar. So we got it down. So this car gets completely stripped, and then they epoxy prime it. And in the course of that, it had a door here for the suspension on the oil, which the S didn't have, and this did. That's gone. We've filled that in. We've used the same materials to fill that in. It had a hole here for a jack and a plug. We got rid of that and put a pad under it. We start filling. I've changed little things on the car, little details on the car. So this one over here is now ready for final prime. This one, and part of what we do is we re-gap everything in the car because they were hand built. They weren't perfect, and so we go back and re-gap them. I want every single thing perfect, and that's what we do. And then this is the door for the oil for the engine. But it used to have a side marker light here, European thing, gone. It used to have a headlight washer here, big pad ugly thing, gone. The jack hole's gone. Up here, you'll see another bumper where it has an indentation for a big European plate, gone. Had a tow hook plug here, put it in here, gone. So I'm doing all kinds of subtle mods to the car, but we've re-gapped.
The gaps are gorgeous. This is a great stage to see them.
Making, these are $3.6 million done. So they got to be perfect.
Right.
It's got to be right. Then these are our new wheels. So when this car was designed new, it was supposed to have an 18-inch wheel on it from the factory. And the concept car had a Speedline race wheel with a fan on it. I'll show you a picture. And they said, we're going to have an 18-inch wheel. They were like 10 months before production, and the head of Porsche Design told me, he said, we were like 10 months from production when the tire companies told us, we can't get you your 18-inch tire in time. We're still 2 years out. So they had to go back to a 17-inch wheel on the car for production. I have remade the wheel, magnesium, hollow spoke, see? Hollow spoke, just like the original one. I have these made in Italy. This company does the magnesium castings for BBS. I had it TUV tested, optimized engineering. It's lighter and stronger than the original wheel. And it looks like the original wheel, except I gave it see a hard line, see the brake line here?
Yep.
Before it was just kind of round. Some were rounded. They didn't have that definition right there.
Sure.
I added that. I added a ½ inch into the spoke in here for the design. I cleaned up this transition. It was ugly on the original wheel. And then besides that, I had now a plating process and powder coat, and then I don't take the powder coat off. I work on top of that. So
That's a light wheel.
for a big wheel, it's a light wheel. So we put 18s on it, and that's the way it was supposed to be in the day. And 18s, there's great tires. There's no great 17s anymore. And this was the first car with center lock wheels from the factory, So, and we're building 50 of these, a Canepa version, which Porsche authorized. So this is called a 959, and we call it SC, Sport Canepa. They built a 959, they built a 959S, and this is the SC. And all 50 are different colors, no two alike. So Porsche's got 300 colors. So every single one is a numbered car. Every single one's a different color.
What are you starting with for the shell to build these?
You mean value-wise? No, a 959. I'm buying 959s. I'm buying $2 million donors.
Yeah, that's a tough place to start. Yeah, we start with some of these Corvettes that are $100,000 that are project cars, and I'm thinking that's crazy.
Yeah, that's a $2 million
couple $1 million project.
Yeah,
car,
so you imagine what the purists think of me doing that deal, right?
I guess you don't care anymore.
Here's what's incredible. Look, pick this fender up. See how light the fender? That's a Kevlar fender. That's back then.
Yeah, that weighs nothing.
Weighs nothing. Yeah.
Yeah, I see where the weight savings come
from.
Yeah,
and you can see where we filled a hole here for the marker light was there, and that's our composite guy does all that. And he's a perfectionist. I mean, his workmanship is as good as it gets, not a big glob on the back.
How do you get a hold of all the cars?
Well, I know where all the cars are because I've been involved in them since '87.
Okay.
And the cars I don't know find me. Like Nissan bought one in '87 to take it apart and figure out how Porsche did their all-wheel drive for their car.
Okay.
And then all these years that car was like, where'd that car go? And then I had some guy call me out of Japan say, that car's just sitting here. You want to buy it? And so people find us all the time. I mean, they know what I'm doing with them, and they know we want them. So Yeah, so the booth is, I just did it, see?
Yeah,
And then
it's
I
got
can
some
do two
height.
cars in it or two sets of parts, and I put racks for all that we hang. You don't paint cars anymore, you paint parts.
A million parts.
Million parts, so that's what we're doing most of the time, So this is Big Ole.
Yeah, that's
So
a rare one. There.
This is the most famous.
Yeah.
So this customer, he's a good friend. He bought this at the Mecum auction
It just sold last year, right?
a couple years ago, $2 million. And then he took it down to the Nora Historic Race of Baja. And him and Mark Porsche, they were driving it, and they rolled it over, and then they switched drivers, and they rolled it over again. So as you can see, we're doing a little bit of work. There wasn't a square inch of it that wasn't damaged. Destroyed the wing, and oh my God, look at my tin guys and we want to save the original thing. So
Yeah.
it would have been easier to make new side panels.
God, it's just tough to, how do you, the original stickers.
I know,
are so-
we've already documented all of them. Yeah, we'll make them all. But, this is that honeycomb, and my composite guy, he's got it perfect. And then, the problem is it not only did this, but it crushed the aluminum everywhere. And,
Yeah,
it made a mess. Frame was cracked in like 4 places because it's old. It's fatigued, It wasn't like they rolled it hard. It's just old. So here we're in there. We're just getting it all redone. Pretty hilarious.
So that's all fabrication.
Huh?
That's all the fab department.
Yeah, and it's, I tell guys, it's a very old school shop,
That takes old school tools to do.
Yeah, that's right. Because we don't want it, we want it like it was. And that's the difference. We're not, sitting there 3D printing this and doing this.
Right.
We want things to be like they were, especially even in our world of a resto mod. I want a Porsche like a 959 to look like Porsche did it, not like a bunch of modern guys did it. So we really are careful about that. So anyway,
Very cool.
yeah, we'll go this way, Sephora. Yeah, we'll go this way here. So this is another Gurney Eagle. This is a customer's car, and it was restored as the wrong car. He didn't know it. So we're putting it back to the right car. This was a Joe Leonard car.
How many of these are there?
Oh, only a handful.
We just happen to see like all of them.
The
in
last
2
couple of
days.
days. Yeah, that's just.
Yeah, because Bruce has one. Yeah, you have, because, well, it's the same click, right? But here's that funny story I told you. So remember I told you, now I won't tell you what the next car is I want? So this person, who's a great guy, he's a friend of Bruce's, friend of mine, he has every car and can have every car and will have every car. He bought this car. We were going to an auction, and this was 20 years ago. We're going to an auction, and he goes, Bruce, what are you guys looking at? And Bruce is talking, and I'm talking. He goes, Bruce, what are you looking at? I says, I want to buy the Eagle. I didn't get to buy the Eagle. He bought the Eagle.
Hey, you get to restore it though.
So he bought the Eagle. It was restored as a Smokey Unit car. It was gold and black. It was never the Smokey Unit car. Years later, a friend of mine bought what he thought was a different one, which turned out that wasn't. This was that one. And the person that has all the records from Indy went through and details, like in the original pictures of the Joe Leonard car. See these 2 rivet holes here, and see how they're not symmetrical? This is the only car where somebody made that mistake, and those were the holes. And back here, it's like instead of this following this, like my car, this piece of the tub, this is the only car that somebody goofed on that part. So we were able to prove what the car was, and this was the team car. The car upstairs is number 1, and that's the car Dan Gurney drove upstairs. That's what that car is. That was his first Indy car, and so this car was his team car with Joe Leonard driving it. So we're restoring it back to the way it was, and it was. I mean, and a lot of things were not right because Smokey Unit modified his cars from one end to the other. He was known for modifying everything. So he had the fairings and the nose different, the roll bar different, and oh my God! And he took his cars and ground and then filled over everything. There was no rivet showing. There was no brake line. We had to undo all that. Had to make a new panel here, and then when we did our car upstairs, in all the pictures, the paint's all broken around these, right?
Where they bucked them.
Where
they hand bucked all the
exactly.
rivets.
They were all broken. So my machinist, I said, Mike, you got to figure out a way not to do that. So he made a tool and then modified that tool and modified that tool and modified that tool. And then we started just taking panels and beating on them. He probably hammered 500 rivets before he got that tool and that method to where he could do it without breaking the paint. And then when he did my car, the first car, I said, okay, you got to do 50 in a row before you do the car. And at one point he got to like 37 and broke the paint. That's not going to work.
You got to keep going.
And he did this one, not a single broken piece of paint.
That's nerve-wracking.
Yeah, that's the bad part of working around a guy like me. So, and of course, this is our trim shop. And, you know, so you guys, this is a 916 Porsche. This was Ferdinand Piech's personal car, the chairman of Porsche. And so this car is not like a 914. The roof's welded on.
Okay.
The front fenders are welded on. It's gusseted all through the body and rosebud welded where they drilled holes and did it like a hot rodder would do. Because this is a 2.9 motor in here and big flares. And this is the color it was. See this color? See how it's it's not black?
Yeah.
So we couldn't get the original color out of the museum. We couldn't take the sample in their archives. So the son of the father that did this car, Tony Lapine, was Porsche's designer. So Hans is back and forth because he worked for Volkswagen in design. So we made a paint sample, and he'd take it over there, and he'd say, you need to do this, you need to add this. And we did like 18 different paint samples over 6 months to get it spot on the color. That's how we did that. Then the wheels, that's the color the wheels were, the green. And the interior is buffalo hide when it's done. So it's actually buffalo hide. And there's pieces here, so yeah, it's real buffalo hide.
It's got a cool grain to it.
Yeah.
Good looking material.
So so we found that material and did that. This is a $2.5 million car.
Is it really?
Yeah. There was this is the prototype, and then there were 10 customer cars, and that was it. 280 horsepower, 914, that thing. And then this is one of our 959s now starting in the assembly stage. And this customer is from Florida and picked this ruby stone and pure white leather, which I wouldn't do, but it looks pretty cool.
It is
It's
cool.
a contrast.
Barbie would love it.
It's got a southern Florida kind of look.
Yeah, it
to
does.
And that arm, it's
And
pretty
then, like,
neat.
we use, you guys might want to use it. This is Porsche's square weave carpet.
Yeah, we use it a ton.
Isn't it beautiful?
it's great.
It's so tailored.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's in the Corvette over there too.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
A little harder to work with. But
it's
good
oh
stuff.
definitely hard. My upholstery guy,
Yeah, they
he
whine about
doesn't
it a
love
little
me,
bit.
but that's what we do, and it's I just love it. I think it's great. And so when these were new, the tubs were gray, and they just had overspray all over them. They didn't paint the whole tub, and we don't do that. We paint the whole tub, and we do the whole tub in a matte finish instead of gloss, because in the factory ones, this is all gloss. They sprayed around all the caulked areas. Well, it looks terrible
Yeah,
in
it looks like
gloss.
crap.
Yes, it looks like crap. So the matte just kind of hides a lot of it. It looks much more finished that way.
Dual
These are all
shocks
springs and
originally.
Shocks. These are all tight. Yeah, that's how they were originally. Yeah, because it was going to be a race car. See, so used to have a hydraulic cylinder on one side that you could raise the car up and down and change shock setting. We throw all that away. Titanium springs. We did all the shock valving, and Penske makes our shocks. So, and yeah, here's Porsche had an upper control arm back in the day, and they're just saying they just did it. So, and like whatever was painted is now powder coated. Whatever was black oxide is now black nickel or black Teflon, because that black oxide just turns to rust in an hour. So we just everything looks correct, but everything's updated. We've remade all the molded hoses. Well, this doesn't have them all in yet, but every molded hose we've gone out and had somebody remake all those for us, all the molded hoses and stuff. So every piece of hardware. So the hardware you're seeing is well, those are new, but all the hardware is original to the car, most of it, because it's odd stuff. I don't want to sandblast it and plate it. So we basically clean it here, file it if it's got marks in it, and then tell the plater, wash it and plate it. I don't want it sandblasted. I want it to look like it did originally, not blasted. See that piece there? That normally would be frosted looking, and we don't want that. We want it to look like factory. We even spent time with the plater to get the right amount of zinc, not too dark, not too light, to match what it was. And there's not a nut or a bolt on this car that's not restored, rebuilt, upgraded. It's the whole car. And like, look at the gearbox that's in this car. That's why I said this was an 825 horsepower project from Porsche. I mean, that gearbox is beefier than their new cars. New mil-spec harnesses all throughout the car.
That's all. And Motec, or you running it on some sort of sophisticated
Motec,
ECU?
yeah, the latest Motec. We've been doing Motec. We started with Motec in the 90s when they didn't even have couldn't do emissions. They didn't have stuff for EGR. They didn't have stuff for NOx sensors. They didn't have anything for emissions. And my engineer worked with Motec to develop it so we could make these. We had to make these emissions legal when we first brought them in the country because I passed along Congress so we could bring these. I did that. And part of it was they had to be emissions legal. They don't now. Anything 22 years old is exempt. So here's one much further along. There's 17-inch wheels there. These are our rollers. And the other thing we do is we take the Porsche colors and we tweak them. So if you looked at this color, there's a car in here, this color somewhere. If you look at this color, midnight blue, it's got a bunch of brown in it and a bunch of red in it. And unless it's in really great light, it looks black, okay? So we're reformulating all the colors using toners and pearls and stuff. So this blue looks blue from every angle. There's no mistaking what it is. And then this here we did and what I do on leathers is I'll make a color and paint it on a piece of tin like that, let's say, and I'll send it to the leather companies and say, this is what I want. And I'll send it to like 3 of them, and the one that gets it right on the money for me, what I want, that's who I'll buy it from. We're buying the most premium leather anyway. And I don't want different pipe. I do deviated stitching, but everything else is really understated, really subtle.
Very subtle.
Yeah.
Gorgeous.
Yeah. And these are the factory intercooler. That's how big an intercooler they had new. They were serious pieces,
Yeah, it's big.
They had a full subframe in it. Look at the axles in the thing and stuff. See, yeah, it's a serious piece. That's why you can put 800 horsepower in it. And it's an air-cooled engine and liquid-cooled heads, water-cooled heads. And it was a 4-valve head, dual overhead cam engine. So, yeah, and every single component is rebuilt. It's just no end in sight to what we do. This was the first one ever in the U.S. This was my car. And I have not seen this car since '88 till recently.
Really?
And I sold it to Paul Allen from Microsoft. And he took it it had to leave the country after a year. He took it to south of France to his home, and that's where it stayed. And of course, he's passed away. And his sister sold it to a gentleman in New York. And he brought it to me to service everything, get it perfect. And we put 18-inch wheels on instead of these things. You see how anemic that wheel looks on the car. So the 18 is just...
Yeah, that wakes it up quite a bit.
Oh, God, yeah. It's just the right size.
Absolutely mind-blowing. Really.
Yeah, see, there's a Countach. I got 2 of them here. So, and then, like, we're restoring... Bruce, that 250 short wheelbase of Bruce's, we're restoring one right now. It's mine. and it's white. It's the only one ever painted white. Wow. It's going to look good white. I like it. I mean, so this is the gearbox, and this is the diff, and there's the engine, and the car's somewhere in the corner somewhere. We're doing that. We got all the metalwork done, but we're restoring that thing completely ground up right now.
It's a killer color combo.
Yeah, the gold and
Great
black
color combo.
Yeah.
The gold wheels.
And every time I get one, even the customers, I take that stupid wing off the back, put the European spec bumper on the front instead of the U.S. one, and put the back of it back to the European spec with a flat panel with the lights.
Okay.
Because that's how they look great. I like them with the flares. Some guys like them earlier than that.
Yeah,
I like the flare. I like the
flares.
fat wheel and tire.
I like the spoiler.
The wing?
Yeah.
Yeah. It slows it down, which is hilarious.
Yeah, such a neat car.
Did you guys get back here at all?
Just briefly. Get some hot rod stuff.
That's my hot rod.
That's cool. Yeah, I always loved the 4-door.
Well,
32.
this 4-door, this is crazy. So you know how they have a gutter?
Yep.
Well, I don't like it without a gutter.
Yeah, you need some sort
So
of bead.
this is made and it's tapered. That's a tapered piece starting where it stopped here to there, welded in. And then the gap here was huge on a 4-door. Close that up. It's 4.5-inch chop at the front and 4 1/4 at the rear, 4.5 and 4 1/4. And these things got room in them. That's what I like, They're really roomy. This is a 5-speed Tremec. It's got air conditioning. It's got power steering. And I bought a 18,000-mile original 32 sedan. Yeah. No rust, no nothing in it. 6-piston AP brakes on it. Huh. Sway bar.
Yeah, look at that.
Sway bar. Because
Yeah,
that's what's wrong with them is they roll around.
You made it actually work. Huh?
It works, yeah. And then this is a small block, but it's a 427 cubic inch small block with Gurney Westlake heads. Roush did the engine for me. So I bought a Dart block and in a 427 configuration, and Gurney was alive then, so he had heads. He sold me the heads. He still had new ones, and I did the Gurney Westlake heads and stuff on it.
That's a cool hot rod.
And did a number of other things. Like normally you got that stupid crossbar in here.
Yep.
Well, we just built a reinforcement.
Just to gusset the fenders.
Huh?
Just to brace the fenders.
Yeah, so you don't need that, the stupid thing, because it's just clean. And then the headlights, I moved them down just a hair, just slightly. No latches on here. It locks in. And it's all subtle things. Like back here we took the tank and moved it in an inch and a half, and then put the bar in the tank, cut it in there instead of having it stick out. So shortened this up almost that much because they're stick way out, and then did this.
That's cool.
Just to, because it looks funny with the thing like this and this. So did that one thing on there. So all subtleties.
Great looking car.
Yeah. So 959s, here's more of them. Yeah. So here's an engine. Here's an engine in a car so you can actually see the engine. All these hoses, we remolded every hose in the car.
You doubled the horsepower on them?
Yeah, almost. Well, they were 450 and 370 foot-pounds of torque, and now they're approaching 850 and 650 foot-pounds of torque and 960 horsepower on E85. And you can just pour it in. The computer deals with it. New turbos, Borg Warner, no distributor anymore, coil on plug, new injectors, new ignition system, and then, and a host of other things. But
that's impressive.
Yeah, this is a Porsche color called Granite. It's a great color. It's got green gray. And it's the same thing. I couldn't find a leather that he came even close. So we painted a panel, sent it in, and had this leather made to go with it.
Yeah, the wheel color looks great against that too.
Yeah, I like dark
Cool
wheels
contrast.
anyway. And I have two colors of wheels. I do a lighter version we call titanium, and we do the dark version. They're a busy car. There's a lot going on.
There's a lot of mechanical pieces there.
There's a lot of stuff in this
one
car.
to assemble.
But every one of those hoses is new. I mean, it's just a brand new car when we're done.
What are the hours involved?
4,300 a car. It's a lot.
That's a lot, but considering what you're doing here,
It's a lot. And then back in '90, Vern Chupin, he's a friend of mine. He raced Le Mans, Indy, and everything. He was going to build a street car, and he only ever built 3 of them. So it's a 962 like that car right there. But Mike Simcoe, you know who that name is? So Mike Simcoe is global head of design for General Motors. Mike Simcoe was the Holden designer back in the day in Australia. And then he got promoted to come to Detroit. And while he was in the middle of all that, he designed this car for Vern. He did all the design. And the funny part was, Mike was at Car Week last August. He had never seen a finished one of these, even though he designed it, till last August.
Really?
Yeah, I had this one there. This was number 1, the first one built.
It's a race car chassis they just converted to a street car?
And this car raced the whole season with that bodywork on it like that, and then became the first street car. So yeah, but a carbon tubbed car, which Porsche didn't do carbon tubs. Yeah, this is a 962 basically, but in a street car. Air conditioning, everything. It's a 1-hour car.
Yeah, it's 1 hour.
This is a 962 we just restored. We just finished this car. And these things are a job to restore because if they raced a lot of years, they've got a lot of wear and tear. This body had so many repairs on it and so many changes in it. So what we do is, and every part weighed a zillion pounds. So you take it off, you strip everything off of it, then you strip all the layers of repairs and stuff off of it. And if you have anything left, then you go back and make it from there. Because at the end, you want everything back to light like it was. So, like for instance, this door, feel this door, how light it is.
Is the body all glass? Or
Kevlar,
is there
yeah.
Kevlar?
It's all Kevlar. This was a Kevlar era, all these. Yeah, it took 4 people to lift the tail off when we got it. Now it takes 2 guys barely to lift it off. So
Color combo on this is the color combo is just,
Isn't it cool?
The delivery.
yeah, and it's restored exactly as it was in the day when Yost ran it and stuff. And then this is a race car. And then this is a 906 Porsche, which these are beautiful, but we're making this a street car. And we're doing a lot of this now. I started this a while ago, and it's really caught on. I'm not saying because of me, it's just caught on. But so here's a car that was just a race car, race history, and now it's going to be a street car. So we went to inject. It looks like Weber's, but it's all injected. Okay, it's all Motect. Fuel accumulator tank we built here. AC, electric AC, and we built all that. And come over here. Electric AC compressor here, but the key is everything in it is bolted on. We didn't modify the car.
Yeah.
You could reverse this car in a couple of weeks, 3 weeks. You could put it all back to stock and nobody would even know you modified it.
That's cool.
So we reshaped the driver's seat, the stock seat on one of these. The stock seat is this big curved thing because you kind of laid down in it. We lowered the floor, and then this is the new driver's seat, so you can actually sit up in it comfortable. And we made the seat wider so it's comfortable because they're too narrow. We got street tires, Avons. We changed the pads. We softened it up a little. Emergency brake, it had it, but now it'll work. It didn't. We're doing a Speedo. We're doing a TAC, but with a Speedo in it. We're making it'll have cameras. With a screen so you can see out of it because these didn't have mirrors hardly at all, or not worth a shit. So, and this guy, and we insulated the whole thing. We complete heat insulated the entire seating area all the way around to, so the AC can do its job. So we just make it a street car. And the doors on a 906, there was a tube here, and the door came up this far, and then you pulled it out. That's how it worked. You just slid it out. So our guys designed and made all this so that you can see here when it's done, the doors will come up just like a gull wing. So you can drop right in the car.
Oh, real.
So that's the stuff we do, and we just figure it out. No engineer sat down and drew that. The guys, they said, we want to do this with the doors, we'll do this, just do it, There's the rest of the HVAC system in there, so simple. And these are beautiful cars. 906 is a beautiful era of Porsche's race cars.
What do you start with when you have something like this? Was there
this was a restored car with race history, but the paint job was so poor we stripped it all off and redid the paint job. They didn't prep it properly. We started to do stuff and noticed that it was just going to come off, so we blew it all off literally. But it was a restored car to start with, and sometimes we don't get to start with that. We start with whatever and restore it too. But this we started with a completely restored car.
Good way to start. So
anyway, more fab stuff area. Engine shops in there where they're assembling engines. That's all the engine department. We build all our own exhaust. Here's one of our tie mufflers he's building right now, all tie.
Very cool.
Yeah. Yeah, we do all this, we do it all. I wish I didn't have to do it all in-house, but I can't find guys to do it.
Well, you got some talented dudes here. I'm sure it's hard to find any more, but...
Yeah, we had to make these for a Bugatti we're going to put on our four-wheel dyno, so we had to make hubs. So all this kind of stuff we just do. And then over here, so that's the car. That's the Group C car that I raced, which now I run it in the historic races. So that's what I drive now in historics amongst the other cars. So that's a 850 horsepower ground effects car. So I can go around in a corner faster than you can go in a straight line.
Damn. That's all right.
So this is actually a roof turbo. You've heard of roof?
Yep.
So they only built 8 of these. This is my car, but there's 8 of these in the world. This was the factory show car. This is fashion gray, which is one of my favorite colors.
Good looking car.
Yeah, and this is a 620 horsepower 993. So, the gutters are gone on roof cars, and they're really beautiful cars. And then this is another race car that I made a street car. So this is a 934.5, which means that's a 935 engine. This is the factory fenders and the factory wing. Never fit like this, never was finished like this. Trust me, it was rougher than a cob. It was a race car. Even we made molds for things like this. So Porsche took and just whacked around this, and we made a mold for this corner so it went into the rubber. Wheels, this is a Momo wheel that's an old school design, and then we gave them all the dimensions and had them make one-offs. That way we could put a radial tire on it.
The simplicity of that wheel is so cool.
Cool. That's an RSR passenger seat, which we split, made it 2 inches wider, redid it. So there it is. The same with the lollipop driver seat. Same thing. Split it right down the middle, 2 inches wider, retrim it. Now it's comfortable. And put just rubber mat on the floor and GT carpet. So this is a 650 horsepower, 2,250 pound street car.
It's a monster.
Yeah. And it's still a race car. And this car ran Le Mans. This car did all kinds of stuff. And you know, and we saved things like they didn't have this safety catch before. We added so a guy doesn't forget his pins and the hood blows off. But it still has a fuel cell. Everything's like it was as a race car. That's how they were. The only difference is this is fake, the dry brake, and that one just twists off to put fuel in it. So we want to keep it in line with what it was. And then, you know.
Great color combo on this one.
Yeah, this is a Speedster we just finished.
Gorgeous.
And there's a million things. So like in this Speedster, Porsche never Frenched in the lights. See, we Frenched them in. And we Frenched them in a way that lays them down and they go straight out instead of pointing up. The bumpers are, I said 3/16 gap on the bumpers.
Hot rod stuff there.
Yeah, so we cut them and nothing on them. This fender here is pulled out 3/4 of an inch. On a stock Speedster, it's a straight line through here, and it comes in from the door. It looks funny. And I said, I don't want it. I want it to continue from the door because that's a 6-inch wheel on the back. And before it'd be rubbing the fender, and you got gap now. It had a molding down all the way down the side, gone. Door handle, see how I came up with this little design. Guys all put holes in them. I said, I don't want holes in it. On a Speedster, this molding here comes over and sits on the door here. We took it off and we folded it so it stayed inside the door. You know, dash, I changed the dash completely. The eyebrow is 3/4 of an inch wider, and we had the steering wheel made, and we did the seats with a perforated. The back of the seats I made hardback smooth instead of carpeting them. And this is a 2200 cc engine now. You know, knew these were 1500s and 1600s. This is a 2200. That's a 2200, makes 180 horsepower, this engine, instead of 80. And it's got a 5-speed. It's got disc brakes. So,
it's a fun car.
Yeah. And, you know, same in the front. Frenched in these lights up in the front. Got rid of the grills. Frenched in the lights. Same with the front bumper. So this is a spec project. I build a car like this, and then we sell it. So
you're pissing off purists all day long, huh?
Yeah, I don't care.
It's so much better, though.
Yeah, it pisses them off that they don't have it. That's really, they're just not honest about it. So
Gull wing.
Yeah, that's a gull wing. So I'll show you the outline in a minute. So this is my 959. I did it fashion gray with this cognac leather, and this is the same thing. I had this leather made because I couldn't find the brown that I wanted. They were too brown, too orange, you know, too red. So I'll make a color and say that's what I want, and then there you go. And then I did hardback seats in this one and gray carpet, and so this is the car I raced in '79, brand new, from the factory.
Wow.
And still have it.
That's cool.
And this is a 850 horsepower, 2,200 pound car. That's what these are. These things in the day won everything. So they won it, and you can see this car gets used. It's not a showpiece. It's a race car. We just did Rennsport, and Rennsport was a blast because on Saturday it was rainy, not pouring, but rainy. Went out, took the green flag on slicks, had 4 guys behind me, that 2 are current pros and 2 just retired, and those fuckers couldn't catch me. And one of them afterward comes over and he goes, God damn, you got so fucking sideways out there, I don't even know how you keep running track. And we were flying. I mean, you're going 150 over the top of the hill in the rain, you know. And I said, Carlos, how old are you, Carlos? Well, it doesn't matter how old I said, Carlos, how old are you? He says, well, I mean, no, how old are you? I'm a lot older than you. How old are you? He says, 55. He says, okay, don't worry about it. You got 18 years to learn how to go this fucking fast.
Oh, yeah, I bet you love that.
That's
Yeah.
Huh? So that's my hot rod outlaw there. So you can see it's got more fender in the rear. It's got a 7-inch wheel. And this engine's completely different. You know, like we built, the roll bar in these was the same in every model. So it laid back like this, and it was narrow, and it was in your way. So we made a bar that, you know, it's not in my way. Don't even know it's there. And then this engine is a 911 engine without the 2 center cylinders. So it's a 4-cylinder 911 instead of a 6. It's 2.5 liter. And it makes 215 horsepower and 190 foot-pounds of torque. And if you look underneath, it's a 911 trailing arms, 911 oil tank, 911 5-speed gearbox, everything.
That's got to be a fun car.
Oh, this thing's a blast. And it's 1,800 pounds. Aluminum doors, aluminum decked, aluminum hood, plexi windows.
Very cool.
Huh?
Unreal.
Yeah, this is our traveling car for our next trip. So.
Then an M1 sitting back there.
Yeah, which will be a pro car for the street.
Yeah.
I built one before with the flares and all this stuff, and get the motor up to about 500 horse, 470 horse.
It's a neat car.
I like those cars a lot. So. Yeah.
And
that 935 up there that's all stripped, that's going to be a street car like the blue car, but it's a full 935. That'll be a 750 horsepower, air conditioned, everything, 935.
Wow.
So, yeah, just
gorgeous stuff.
Yeah. Absolutely awesome.
Well, you've definitely got your signature on every single one of these.
Yeah, a little bit.
You've got your hand in just about every single piece of every car here.
Tweak this, yeah.
So here's the new Gordon Murray engine.
Huh.
This is what's in the new Gordon Murray cars. It's a 4-liter engine, makes just under 700 horsepower, normally aspirated.
Wow.
It's 48-volt system. So this is starter, alternator, everything right here. What normally, instead of having a bunch of water lines, it's all integrated into the design of the engine. The red line is 12.5. 12.5.
That's something.
Yeah. These are 3D printed. See this? Yeah.
How's it sound?
Like a 90s F1 car, slightly muffled. Well, that's what it is, basically, if you think about it.
Unreal.
6-speed manual transmission, so it's an analog car.
How spectacular does that car drive?
Unbelievable. I mean, power to weight ratio. First of all, the chassis does everything right. It just does everything right, and it's, power to weight. It's a lightweight car. You're not carrying all this extra weight. I tell guys, I said that 356 is fast because it doesn't weigh anything. My early 911 is fast because it doesn't weigh anything. Weight is just such an enemy in a car when you're doing anything.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I know you got to get rolling. We've taken up way too much of your time already.
You want to go across the street for a minute?
If you've got time.
Yeah, I'll take the time. Jesus. I'm sending you a bill, so don't worry about it.
Oh, man, I don't know if I want that one.
I'll tell you what's a blast. Have you driven one of these?
I have not, no.
This is the R?
Yeah.
It's hilarious. First of all, nobody messes with me in my other cars to race or anything.
Yeah.
This thing, everybody wants to race you. I had a Dodge TRX pull up next to me, want to race. I just had a guy in the cyber Tesla thing, comes to the stoplight and we raced, and I blew him off. Not by a lot, but I blew him off. This thing, it's a 12.5-second quarter-mile truck from the factory.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fast.
It's hilarious, and it's comfortable, smooth as glass. It rides. A S-Class Mercedes is not more comfortable than that truck.
Yeah, he's got a regular Raptor.
Do you? I love this thing.
Yeah,
pretty cool.
I tell guys, they're just the best. Come on, let me grab a key and we'll go over there.
And there's this.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
You ever seen one of those?
Yeah. These things are such good-looking cars.
Oh, great-looking cars.
The original ones were amazing. I mean, they were just size-wise everything. The original GT40.
I think last time we were here, you guys were restoring.
We restored one. Yeah, we finished it. That was a road car too, from day one. Yeah.
Where's the red bow at?
What's that?
Where's the red bow?
Yeah, I keep waiting for you guys to be like, it's yours. You sure? Is it not? No, it's not.
It's not.
Yes, did he?
100% not.
Yeah. All right, it is.
You shouldn't have.
We didn't.
So that's a T33 Spider, and the T33 Coupe, or the T50, and then the T33 Spider, Coupe, and T50. So this is a center seat car, and it has a fan in the back. You know about that?
Yeah.
So it takes the boundary layer air over the top and underneath and sucks it through that fan and just pulls it to the ground.
What's the volume expected of those?
No, there's 100 cars for the world. They were all sold in weeks. And in the U.S., I think we have 39 of them are coming to the U.S. And there's 100 of those and 100 of those. So, and then 100 of one more version, and that's it. So, yeah.
And he can, be profitable on the engineering with those kind of numbers?
So far, not. It's so hard to build a car. Especially when you're homologating a car. It's not just building it.
Yeah.
It's now homologation, both, for the crash standards, for the emission standards. It's a huge undertaking. Yeah, people for years have said, Bruce, when are you going to build a car? I said, I look at all these guys that used up everything they had to build a car, and only a few made it, only a few. So,
That's neat.
yeah, that was that March. That was the first ground effects prototype car built. And that Adrian Newey from Red Bull that you hear about, their chief designer, and makes them, that's why they're blowing everybody's doors off. He did that car back then. And then I drove that car from Momo, the Momo team on the end there. And then, this is funny, but one of the young guys that works here saw a picture on somewhere, eBay or something. He saw this picture, and he was pretty sure it was me, and bought the picture, and on the back it showed myself and Dub May at Ascot. And I won that night in that car, and that's Dub May behind me.
Oh, that's cool.
That's the car upstairs.
Wow.
So that was like in 1977.
And then you just got one chilling out here. Huh? Is this the daily?
Yeah. So this is one we're just finishing, and then I'll go drive tonight. So
It's the worst part of the job, isn't it? Having
It
to
is.
test drive these things, take them
you
home,
what,
put miles on it.
Yeah, sometimes it becomes a task.
It is.
We try to get like 500 miles on a car.
Yeah,
before
no, we
deliver
do
it.
too.
it
So we
gets
build these in
difficult.
Fresno, stuff like that. My other company. Been doing that since '86, and they're like a car. They're quiet inside as a car.
Did you always own this property? Did you luck out and score it?
I bought this property from a tech company here when they went public and moved that building and then redid it. And then since then I bought the property on that side and the property, all that property, and this property. This we opened in August. So, and now we're building a new building over there for car storage and members and stuff. I'm just starting a building for that. So these are all, other than one car, these are all cars for sale. This is part of our sales stuff.
Is this all like consignment type stuff or stuff
I
that
own
you
all
own?
the cars here, yeah. All my life I've just put the money back in the cars and back in the cars. So we carry quite a bit of inventory. And it's always turned out to be better than money.
Yeah.
Because every time the dollar goes to shit, the cars are worth more because the dollar's worth less. So my banker hates me. He says,
Yeah, it's a lot of money
why
in
don't you put more
inventory.
money in the bank? I said, yeah, so I can buy less next year. That makes sense. Every car is prepped to the tens. Every car we sell, I'm a perfectionist. It's got to be nice. But then every car is serviced. Every car is road tested. I drive every car last before it gets delivered. Every car is detailed, like we're going to Pebble Beach Concourse. The bottoms, there's a rack over there in detail. They just spent a week on the bottom of one car, hand cleaning it with kerosene and solvent and soap and water. We don't dry ice blast them. We don't. We do them that way. And so every car looks like brand new. You look under a car and it looks like a brand new car. So, recognize that Corvette?
Yeah, look at that. A little blast from the past.
Yeah.
We built that thing years ago.
He's a nice guy. I've never met him in person, but
Yeah, Mark.
Mark, yeah. We have somebody on the car right now, an attorney in Scottsdale who's a character. I think he's going to buy it, so.
He said this looks like James Bond should walk out of this.
Huh? I just like the looks of it. It's just, it came out nice. It's just not overdone. And
That was the first thing that ever got an LT4. It's like the first LT4 put. It was quite a challenge at the time. Now it's a piece of cake, but
And I like that you didn't modify the body.
yeah, body's all straight.
Yeah, no flares or nothing. It's a really good look.
They're such good looking cars.
They are, yeah.
Yeah, we get 2 more we're doing now.
Do you?
Yeah, another guy that wants it to look just like this.
So yeah, that's an M1. That was a single family owned this its whole life almost, all but 1 year.
That's cool.
So the GT's for sale then, huh?
I have one at home. That one's for
I
sale.
gotta step up to the new.
This
one.
is the only one ever done in 70s grabber orange. The only one. I like it. I think it looks good in orange.
Yeah, I think you've got to start with the new one. You can't start with the 0506.
I like to drive it. These new ones. I got miles on mine. It's a nice car to drive. Mine's all custom. I did it with Multimatic all custom. So mine's a green that I made the color green and sent it to them. And then inside, instead of having the upholstery like that, I had all the seat inserts done in Alcantara in this pattern right here.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so it's all stitched with that pattern. Because that doesn't go with anything, that tuck and roll in there. I don't know what they were doing, but
Such a gorgeous car.
yeah, they're cool. Pretty timeless, because you consider this car was designed in 15. It's 9 years old, the design.
Where do you think the market goes on those 05, 06s? What do you think?
Keeps going up. In my world, it's obvious they go up, because it's the world's least expensive supercar,
Yeah.
period. I mean, that's $2.5 million. That's $3 million. You know, that roof car is $1.5 million. I mean, when you walk around and start looking at the stuff that's for sale that we sell, you know.
Will that be $1 million car 5 years from now?
Yeah, yeah. If more, only a few more.
Yeah.
But it will be. Yeah.
We're talking investments here, guys. You know, making smart investments.
And we just bought.
In 5 years, it'll also be that much more for you to get one.
We just put a blue one on the showroom over there with no stripe. I like them with no stripes too. And on the gray one, you notice I took the stripes off the side.
Yeah.
It just says Ford GT, because those, thank God, are tape stripes. I'm glad they didn't paint those. So
Have you driven that Bronco?
just down the street. I bought it. I don't even know why I bought it, except I'm friends with all those guys, and I had them send it to me just in their white gel coat. You know, I said we'll paint it. So that's Porsche NATO Olive Green.
Multimatic made those, right?
Yeah, 50 of them. Yeah. They started with the four-door frame, and that's about all it's Bronco on. It's a V8. But yeah, that's a Porsche color. And I did the hood black, so that way it tied all this together.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, it worked out, because the grill's black, and yeah. Yeah, I have no idea what you do with this. Not a clue.
Cool to screw around with, again, probably an hour car.
That Multimatic is just a crazy company.
Interesting company.
And Larry is a crazy guy, Holt. He's a genius, and he's nuts. Have you seen him? Ever seen him? He looks like the guy from Back to the Future and Einstein. I mean, he does. That's what he looks like. He was born in Wales, and it's crazy how creative he is.
Yeah, those spool valve shocks are wild.
And every word out of his mouth is fuck, every other word.
I can't believe he can staff the company to do the things he's doing.
I think they're overdone in terms of all the shit they did to him. I like less. They're beautiful. They're well done. They don't drive and handle as good as they could, because these guys are more artistic and not the mechanical side. Mm-hmm. So they have less torque than they should have, and it's a cool car. It's just, you know, I'm just so spoiled with stuff that does so many other things. But they're popular. Oh my God.
Yeah, they're insane.
And then the whole look is great. The 72, that era where Porsche did the ST in the 70s without flare and stuff, that's what they went back to, was that look, and it looks great. Now, over in that other shop, there was a gray car sitting under the.
Yeah.
That's me. That's not them.
Yeah.
So we got our own version of it now, and it's a 410 foot-pounds of torque. It's a 6-speed instead of a 5-speed. It's got real brakes. It's a mother. It just does everything. But it's the same kind of look, but inside less, more subtle. So
What do those go for?
that car over there will probably be like $850. You know, these are now selling for $1.2 million, $1.3 million.
It's 96,000 miles.
Yeah, this one has no mileage, real low mileage car. I love 993s.
It's such a great car.
They're the best car. That's the last air-cooled car, best sports car they ever built, last hand-built car they did. I mean, we sell a lot of 993s, because you saw them. They're all over the place over there. So that's a color we do also in 959 wheels. That's our light titanium.
I like that color.
Isn't that nice? Yeah, we made 2 colors for those. It's like I took this car in trade, and it's a beautiful car. It's a Kirkham. It had the bright silver exhaust. It had the polished wheels with the white centers. It had white stripes. They said, "Fix this car." It never even got off the trailer and got cold before it was headed to the body. I leaned the windshield back 4 degrees, because they stand them up too much. Anyway.
Amazing.
Even this car, we made the color for this car. I went to McLaren when I ordered this, and they had terrible colors. They look like bass boat colors, all their colors. They do. They look like bass boat colors on their cars. So I went over there and I said, this looks like shit. I said, you guys need some sun out here because it was all overcast, right? I said, this what's wrong with you guys? You need sun. You can't see color. So I went home and we made this color. And then I got this leather all in Italy, all Nubeck leather, and did that. And then I painted the wheels my color. I said, don't worry about the wheels. I'll just do a my color. And then, they had those discs on the wheels. I took those off and machined the caps to fit.
Is this an hour car?
No, it's not actually. And then see, this is carbon. You ever seen carbon that small?
That's wow.
That's
cool
a
looking
small
trim
weave
piece.
carbon. Really tailored looking. And so when they had just got that carbon, hadn't done a car yet with it, and said, we think we're gonna do this. I said, okay, we'll do my car with it, right? So I didn't ask how much it was gonna cost. On the price sheet, that carbon was $300,000 extra. I'm still laughing.
Oh, I know, I see that.
I couldn't believe it. But it's the whole car had to be that because they paint parts of it and don't paint parts of it, and
How's it driving a center seat?
it's fine. I mean, when you first get in one, it takes you 15 minutes to adjust to go down the center of the road because you're used to being here, right? But once you do that, it's awesome. And the cameras are really good, so you can see all around you, The only bad thing is, and happened the first day I took a trip, I went down to Monterey to the track, and I wasn't going fast. I was going 85, 90, whatever, and because that feels like 20 in this silly thing. And I'm going down the highway, and I took the exit at Delray Oaks to go over to the track. And I get down to the bottom of the stop sign. I start to turn left. I see this red reflection. It's a high patrolman behind me. He had been behind me for 4 miles, and I never saw him because the cameras are here. They come out. Cameras here, cameras there. You can't see the guy right behind you. So he goes, did you not see me? And he looked inside the car and saw me sitting in the center. and he goes, are you in the center? I go, yeah. He says, did you not see me? I go, I never saw you. Yeah, the car right behind you can't see. Crazy design, huh?
Yeah.
It's
Just looks like a spaceship.
It's really quiet because it doesn't have wings and dive planes, so it's really quiet on the road, which is nice. This is active too, right? Yeah. Yeah, those things, isn't that amazing? That carbon bends up that far and doesn't hurt it.
Yeah, side profile, that's perfectly flat. I had to come around the back to see that it's an actual wing.
Yeah, crazy car. It is pretty amazing the last 10, 15 years what's been built in cars with technology,
That tight carbon is cool.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's
Yeah, I mean,
but it's cool looking. Like you said, it's just got such a
it's just classy looking.
now when you see like regular weave, it looks cheap.
Yeah, it does.
It's too big and
It's very tailored looking. I really like it.
awesome. Amazing. I can't thank you enough for all the time.
Oh, pleasure.
It's been a really good time.